guys, welcome to my channel. My name is ReadingBear and I hope you are ready for some more stories. And today, we'll take a look at some new entitled people content. If you enjoyed my content, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel and post some bear emojis in the comment. And now, let's dive right into the stories.
The first story is titled CB claims a medical emergency is no excuse for canceling his free demo. This actually happened on one of my days off, and I heard this from my coworkers that were there to witness it. So, I can't say all the details are accurate, but I know the broad strokes of the story are true. A few years ago, I worked at a little shop that is best described as a retro toy store. It sold all kinds of old toys, but its bread and butter were marbles. In order to get people in the door, we had glass artists come in and demonstrate on how they make marbles by hand. One of these glass artists was also one of the store's co-owners. Being a natural showman, he learned how to work with glass just so he could do the demos himself and put on a show for his customers. These demos were, of course, free. And as I'm sure we all know, when you offer something for free, that's when the CBs start coming out of the woodwork. One morning when we were setting up for the day, we got a call from the co-owner's wife. Apparently he had suffered a heart attack and was currently in the hospital. Everyone was understandably concerned, but his wife assured us he seemed to be doing fine at the moment. She went on to explain that he would need to take some time off, and he definitely wouldn't be coming in that day. Once we got over the initial shock, we started figuring out who would need to do what to make up for his absence. The biggest and most immediate issue for the store was that he was scheduled to do the marble making demonstrations for that day. The other co-owner called the other glass artists to see if they could fill in for him last minute, but they were unavailable. So, with no other options left, she decided to cancel the demonstrations for that day. Unfortunately, it was the middle of summer, our busiest time of year. Before the store was even open, there was a line of people outside the door waiting to see the first demonstration. We opened up, and very politely explained to everyone waiting that we wouldn't be having any demos that day because the owner had a medical emergency that morning and wasn't able to come in. And almost everyone was completely understanding and sympathetic. They still came in, did some shopping, and we made sure to demo plenty of toys and games for the kids to play with. Things actually went pretty smoothly for most of the day, all things considered. That's when the CB arrived. In walks a man with his wife and 5 children. He pushes through the other customers to the counter where my coworker is stationed and demands to know when the next demo is starting. My coworker politely tells him what we've been telling other customers all day. Sorry sir, but the owner had a medical emergency and wasn't able to come in to do the demonstrations today, so unfortunately we've had to cancel them. But you are free to take a look around the store if you like. We have some games your children can try in the other room. But he wasn't having it. He starts going off on my coworker about how he and his whole family drove all the way from Mudunkalunka to see how marbles get made, and that it isn't fair that they don't get a free demo. He then starts asking things like, is the owner the only one who does it? Can't you get someone else? My coworker explains to him that we tried and that no one was available. Our manager was nearby helping other customers, but was still keeping an eye on the situation, ready to handle things if my coworker decided to call her over. That's when she heard that the CB say something that pushed her over the edge. I don't know what his exact words were, but it was something to the effect of, how bad could this medical emergency even be? As soon as she heard that, she immediately marched over to him and said, Sir, I don't think you heard her earlier, so let me make this very clear. The owner had a heart attack this morning. That's why he couldn't come in. That's why we aren't able to do demonstrations today. I'm very sorry if that's an inconvenience for you. There was a moment of stunned silence while the CB took some time to process what had just happened. He looked around at the other customers, who were looking at him. He looked at his family, who were all looking at him. Then, in a huff, he collected his kids and stormed out. And everybody clapped. Okay, that's not true, nobody clapped. In fact, as my coworkers tell it, it was pretty awkward afterward, and you could cut the tension in the room with a knife. I guess seeing a grown man getting brutally dressed down in public is an uncomfortable thing to witness. But it did leave me with a very important lesson. When you take a Saturday off during the busiest time of year, you risk missing out on seeing some of the best customer meltdowns. The next story is titled Trespasser Demands Police. I'm a private security officer on the graveyard shift. I mostly do bicycle patrol, which means I'm riding from client property to client property doing nightly checks, as opposed to sitting at a desk. One night, I ride up to one of my properties and see that there's a trespasser in the back corner of the parking lot. As I get closer, I can see that it's an elderly guy with a walker and he has his pants down. I politely inform him that he's trespassing on private property and needs to move. He replies that he's stuck and demands that I help him get his pants back on. His expression and tone make it pretty damn blatant that he's saying this because I'm a female officer, and corporate says we aren't allowed to provide medical assistance under any circumstances anyway. So I tell him no, I'm not allowed to do that. He completely loses his crap at being told no, and starts screaming that I'd better either help him up or he's going to call the police on me. I tell him that I'll be happy to involve the police, and proceed to inform him that he is now officially excluded from the property. We're supposed to tell every trespasser that because it is a legally binding notice of trespass, but we usually don't because going off on a multi-paragraph legal spiel is really annoying and tends to escalate situations. But he said he wanted police, and that means I'm going to do everything by the book and write a full report. Needless to say, he gets madder and madder as I go through all the legally required points for exclusion and then call the police, and pretty much goes off on a litany of completely uncreative insults that every security officer has heard 1,000 times already. I politely remind him that police are on the way and that he will likely be arrested for criminal trespass if he is still here when they arrive. Redoubled litany of insults, still no new ones. Sigh. Whatever, have it your way. A police officer arrives, faster response than usual for a non-emergency call. It's an officer I've met before, because this parking lot is one of her favorite spots to park her cruiser and do paperwork while patrolling this side of town. I point out the trespasser and state for the record that he has been formally excluded. He unironically demands that she arrest me for harassing him, and goes off on her when she points out that I'm doing my job and he's trespassing. Note that the local police are generally very reluctant to actually arrest anyone just for trespassing. It's a lot of paperwork for what is ultimately a trivial misdemeanor offense. Legally speaking, if security has already issued an exclusion, the police can make an immediate arrest for criminal trespass without giving the person any further chance to leave, but they pretty much never do this. They will give trespassers every opportunity to just pack up and leave quietly, which is fine with us because we don't want to do more paperwork either, but annoys our corporate masters who would like to impress our clients by generating arrests for every single trespasser we catch. But this guy is stubborn enough to actually get arrested. The next story is titled "But the rest of us all agreed you should wake up earlier." This happened a few years ago and still irritates the heck out of me. My child attended a private high school about 45 minutes from my town. Since there was no bus or public transportation, the school provided a list of parent names and numbers so people can create their own carpools if they wanted. I worked halfway between my hometown and the school, and for the previous years, I had offered to drive every morning and pick up every Friday afternoon if the other 3 parents in the carpool could divide the 4 afternoon picking up between them. This had worked great for 2 years, and I didn't mind doing 5 mornings a week and my half-day Friday afternoon as long as the other 3 managed to get my child back to our hometown the other 4 afternoons. Since the 3 students I was driving graduated the previous year, I made my offer available to incoming freshman parents under the same agreement. 3 new families took me up on it. We met at a parking lot in our town each morning at 6:30 a.m. so I could get the children to school by 7:15 a.m. for a 7:30 a.m. start time. After about 2 weeks of driving daily, I had the following conversation by text which was grouped to the other members of the carpool. CB. Hi. Just checking in to see how things are going. Me. So far so good. CB. The reason I am calling is my daughter really likes to get to school at least 30 to 45 minutes before start time in order to talk to her friends, so I spoke to the other parents in carpool and we all agreed to start meeting at 6 a.m. so all the kids can arrive at school earlier. Me. Sorry, but I really am not going to wake up and get out 45 minutes early so your child can socialize before school. CB. But the rest of us agreed that we can meet earlier. Other CB. Yes, we can make that work. Me. Well, that's nice, but since I am the one that drives every morning and must shower and get ready for work before meeting while both of you just drop your kids off in your sweats and slippers, I am not willing to change my schedule. CB. That seems very selfish of you. My daughter says she is stressed out each day because she only has 15 minutes to get to homeroom and never has time to get a coffee or a donut. The other parent agree with me that earlier is better. I don't know why you are being difficult. Silence from the other two families. Me. Allow me to be clear, this is never going to happen as long as I am driving. CB. I don't think you should have complete control of everyone's schedule simply because you are willing to drive every morning. Me. Well, since you all agreed, I suggest the other three of you figure out a way to get your children to and from school between you. I will be arranging to get my child home on my own going forward. I never spoke to anyone in the carpool group again and have often wondered if the other parents were pissed or embarrassed that CB screwed up a good thing for them, or if they all really agreed that I should wake up earlier and thought I was being selfish for wanting my beauty sleep. The next story is titled When Did Easter Become All About Big Gifts? I confess this is more meta, but I do have a story. About a month ago, my husband and I decided that we were done with slime. All slimes and doughs of the play sort were banned from our household for a period of some odd months. Before this happened, I purchased a box of plastic eggs containing slime, figuring they could be a fun filler for Easter baskets. I got like 4 dozen of these eggs, to my surprise for the purchase. This led to them sitting on a shelf as I had no intention to give them to my children. A couple of my local needs groups this past week had their fair share of posts asking for Easter basket help, so I began offering up these slime eggs. A few families took some, grateful. I was happy to clear out these eggs and happy to help. Then up comes a new post. Poor family, no money left this pay period, and here is Easter. Oh, maybe they would like a contribution of these slime eggs. Not much, not a full basket, but hey, the others saw it as a contribution. This is the conversation. I failed to take screenshots before the post went down. Response. Oh, thanks. Yeah, we could take those. But do you have anything else? Kid 1 wants new video games. Kid 2 wants new AirPods. We were hoping to maybe get them scooters? Me. Confused. No, I can't help with that. Response. We need real gifts. No thanks on those eggs. For my own wonderings, is this normal? My kids are getting candy and a few small gifts that fit in a basket. Nothing expensive. Am I supposed to be buying them pricey stuff for Easter? Did I completely neglect the gifts of St. Patrick's Day? The next story is titled How to Stop Coworker from Begging Me to Pay for Her Life non-stop so she can spend her cash on mental health. She was going through a rough patch, so I said it was okay to crash for 4 nights. No more. Instantly she made herself at home. Not in a good way. She was caught going through my drawers, borrowed clothes, moved my furniture around, was setting up the guest room like she was moving in. She brought 3 dogs she forgot to mention. They pissed everywhere. She was constantly drinking my booze, obviously top shelf, cheap stuff. Disagrees with her. Don Julio 1942 is the only tequila she can stomach, but was doing Cuervo no prob when it was free at ladies' night, and doing cocaine. After 4 nights I told her to go. She whined, cried, flailed. Then she asked to leave 1 box for 3 days. Okay. 2 months later 6 huge boxes of crap and a smelly dog bed were still here. I told her I was going to put it in a storage unit with 1 month paid. At the end of that month she put the bill on my desk to pay the second month. I only paid the first month to get her crap out and give 0 reason for her to enter my house. Was 100% worth the $70. She is not in my house. She left after 4 days. Days later the poor me stuff started. She asked me for a small loan of $4 grand because she found a dream place but can't afford it. She deserves a luxury condo for her mental health because your home is a sanctuary. I discovered she took some things from my home. When I asked for them back, I have no nice things and you don't know what it's like having nothing. I harassed her until my things were returned. They were returned. She has asked me to pick her up every day and drive her home, 35 minutes out of my way each way. I told her I'd take the bus or Uber. So she said to add her to my Uber plan so we can help each other out. How is that helping me? I am just going to get stuck paying to cart her and her friends everywhere, and they'll probably trash a car with all that mental health drinking, drug use, since then I am asked daily to buy her Ubers. I told her to get a bus pass and she said, I don't like the bus, but let me know when you buy it. You have to laminate it for me too. I did not do anything. I have never once paid for an Uber or given a ride, so stop telling me to stop paying her rides. I don't even pay the $3.50 for the bus. Now she's asking me to give her my new furniture or buy her furniture because she can't afford it. I said no. She said it's not fair because I am doing better in life, so it's my duty to help. I said no, I am not paying her bills or furnishing her place. Every ducking day I get these annoying ducking begging emails. Blocked her number, she's begging the boss, begged our other coworkers. Steals from the office. We are sick of it. No hour. The owner said it's a personal problem and to never bother him with personal problems. I am 100% in agreement with that. He isn't daddy, he is my boss. I am constantly getting crap like, "Hi, I saw you posted that you were at X steakhouse yesterday, so that must mean you're doing way better than me in life and I can barely afford ramen. It's so unfair. Can I have some cash for groceries?" Crap like that. It's so uncomfortable I don't even want to go in the office. She has no money for a $10 Uber but can buy a $35 acai bowl, smoothie and avocado toast each day for lunch and is constantly bragging about her parties, concerts, trips and new clothes. How in the duck do you deal with someone like this? I feel guilty, but then I am like, she's blowing her money on dumb crap and wants everyone else to pay the responsibilities. I told her that maybe she should get a weekend gig, and that was rude because her mental health requires her to have her weekends to party and relax. Like it's so uncomfortable. I have started eating ramen or cheap yogurt at the office so she doesn't follow me to lunch and try to put her crap on my bill again. I work 3 jobs for me, not for her. I have never once paid her lunch, so stop telling me to stop paying for her food. I can't prevent her from going to a restaurant either. This woman is 46. Not 21. The next story is titled "Previous Employer Wants Me to Drive to Office to Sign Document They Need as It Is Too Costly for Them to Drive to My Place." Hi everyone. I wanted to share my experience of a choosing beggar at my previous job. If you don't think it belongs here, let me know. So I had resigned from my job back in November, giving the 1-month required notice. As part of my job, I occupy certain positions for clients that the company which I worked for serviced, and some of these require the regulator's approval for any replacement. It may take time, so I agreed to remain on these for around 3 to 4 weeks after my last day at the company. I was doing it without any benefit or pay. I also pointed out to them that I will be busy at my new job and may not be available for signatures, hence they should replace me ASAP. Despite this, they took all their time to seek the approval. Around 2 weeks after my last day, I got a call from one of the staffs working there saying they need my signature in wet ink on a document which was urgent. My new job was in the same area as the old one, but we were working from home. I was going to office on the day after and we agreed that I will drop by to sign the document. Unfortunately, someone tested positive in my new job and who has been to office. Hence the building was shut down for the next few days to sanitize. I informed the staff and requested him to arrange for the dispatch person to drop by at my place or to have a taxi drop by. This is reasonable as my new job regularly does this for docs to be signed in original. The staff checked with the relevant department and they said that I live quite far from office, so they cannot arrange for the dispatch person to drive there and taxi will cost too much. FYI, I live around 30 to 40 minutes away. They requested that during my lunchtime I drive there to sign the document or I meet them halfway. I was very annoyed and basically told them you need the document and not me, and I am not gaining anything from this. I also said that I do not work there and I am just doing a favor. And that for them it is too costly to send someone to my place for their business, but then for what reason I should use up my petrol for their benefit. They eventually sent someone to get the document signed. I never realized people could be this way. If you enjoyed the video, please subscribe to the channel and post some bear emojis in the comments.